Count us in, motherfucker.
You're not even noticing? Oh, you're not even looking at me.
Sorry, I wasn't looking.
I couldn't believe you weren't reacting. I was like, all right.
Don't worry, I did record it.
Oh, excellent. 3, 2, 1, record.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's episode 80. And Aden Richards, what's happening?
Oh, just enjoying my last weekend of freedom before the school year starts.
What are you least looking forward to about school?
Parents. Flat out 100%. The first parent phone call or email I get. Won't even necessarily be a complaining one. I'm going to be unhappy about it no matter what. It could be even like,
what do they
thank you.
want like early in the year?
Who knows? I mean, it could be as much as like complaining about what order I'm teaching things in, which is like, that's actually happened before.
I reviewed the
funny.
syllabus, and I really think that I wish I had even had like 2 syllabus points for physics that like could be rearranged.
Yeah, the funny part was in this time it actually happened. In that particular case, I was not actually the person who set the order of topics. It was a requirement that they be taught that way. So, which made it even better.
George W. Bush.
Actually, no, and it was my first year teaching there, and so at that point, it was basically like, they said basically just teach it the same order the other teachers doing it in. So,
right.
Whatever.
Not the most amazing reason.
No, not at all. All right, Lorton. So what are we talking about today? We just did our TI epic episode, and now what are we doing?
We're sweeping up the crumbs, the dust of TI, and we're going to make a little episode out of it. Audio engineer Jason, we've already apologized to you privately for the length of the last episode. Not apologizing to the listeners, because I thought a lot of that last episode was good. A lot of it. I'm not saying 100%.
Yeah. Now I'm feeling judged. Okay, all right.
No, I'm not talking about your contributions. Anyway, today is TI table scraps and a little talk about what's going on next year, talk about rosters. And Aden, you've skipped all the things that we need to promote. Number one on that list being our Discord. If if you're listening to this and you would like to ask questions of us, play Dota with us, play Underlords with us, Discord is the place where all those conversations happen and where we coordinate all that. And I would just say we have a nice little community of people who are not assholes and who also follow Pro Dota. So if that's you, I would encourage you to join the Discord. And if that's not you, like if you are an asshole or if you're not into Pro Dota, go fuck yourself.
Or better yet, tell us why you're listeing.
Yeah.
It's far more useful.
Actually, yeah, I take it back. Don't go fuck yourself. Do let us know why you listen to the Glimpse if
we're very curious.
If that description does not fit. If you want to join the Discord, you can go to our website, glimpsepod.com. There's a link at the top of the page. You can also reach us on Twitter. Aden is at OmegaManDota. He is parsimonious with his words. And I'm at Shark Butler, and I'm parsimonious with my tweets.
It's true. We also have merch. I'm not wearing it this time. Sorry. You can get T-shirts that say things like GSL group stages are dumb, or why bother winning if you're not going to get a Mercedes. You can get them at glimpsepod.com. They're available in the U.S., Europe, and Australia, and now apparently Brazil by request. Right?
That's right. Yeah, if you're in a country we don't ship to and you would like me to open up shipping to your country, it's just a matter of me clicking around and figuring out what it will cost to ship to your country. It's not that hard. It's just like...
you're not going to do it for every country.
I'm not going to do it for every country. And if I open up shipping to all South America and you live in motherfucking Tierra del Fuego, then... the Glimpse is probably going to lose money on the T-shirt you buy from us.
Fair enough.
Lose more money than usual. Sorry, more money than usual is what we would lose.
Yes. And you can also, if you are feeling generous, specify that you want the money to go straight to audio engineer Jason because he deserves it.
Amen. Okay.
All right. We already previewed the episode, so is it time to dive in?
Yes, Aden. And I see that the first topic you've assigned us is on your syllabus for this episode is next year's DPC season.
All right, so Lorton, let's just recap because it's actually weirdly, it's been a while since Valve has made any announcements about it. What do we know about this year's DPC season?
Yeah, Valve just like threw out a cursory blog post / tweet that was like, hey, there's going to be a DPC next year. It's going to be 5 events. Here are some dates.
Yeah.
If you're a tournament organizer, get at us.
And it was a while ago, which is
that was
weird.
The whole thing.
But yeah, so it's going to be very similar to this year's season. In fact, we even looked at most of the major dates essentially line up with last year's major dates.
Yes.
The big change is that TI is going to be in Sweden this year.
Yes.
Sweet. Much better viewing time for those of us in North America.
Oh, yeah. There's already a small Glimpse Pod meetup being planned for Sweden. I don't know if either Aden or I will get there, but nevertheless, people in the Discord have been circling the wagons.
There's a non-zero chance I would make Ian out there.
There's a non-zero chance I'll make it there too. Yeah, also less than 50 for me, unfortunately.
But here's the thing. As you know, I wrote a long blog post over a year ago now, or about a year ago, about what I think the DPC should have been.
Yeah.
And a lot of other people through the year have been writing about what should change. And in fact, Red Eye just recently, this past week, wrote about what he would change about the DPC season. And his big thing was adding having a 2014 major. Now, there's a bunch of other things he added as well. And no minor. Right. 2014 major, no minor, because minors suck. And the current minors suck. And he's 100% right on that. Organizers don't want to host them. They're too expensive. No one sponsors them, etc. And his idea was to eliminate them. My idea, if any of you read my blog post, remember, was to put better teams at the minor and make them more interesting.
Right. You've said basically leave out the top 8 or 10 teams and then it's a free for all for your RNGs, your Infamouses, your
actually I think I only left out the top 4, maybe top 6, maybe top 6. So that means like good teams like EG even sometimes would have to be there depending on how they finished.
TNC.
So that was my big plan. His plan also worked. I think what's interesting here is I think both of them are equally valid ideas, and the middle ground is worse than either extreme.
Well, you're saying that what we have right now is the middle ground. That is the 8-team minor and the 16-team major.
Right. I mean, I guess like what are you saying is that like the old it's basically it's a minor without good teams, and my option was to buff the minors up, make them bigger, make them a bigger deal, and Red Eyes was to eliminate them, and having crappy minors is in the middle and the worst outcome.
I mean, I agree with that, and I do think both points of view are valid. I like your idea a little bit better because it's fun to see teams triumph when the top dogs are not around. Mm-hmm. Like I just think it's cool to see a team like prove themselves that absolutely wouldn't be able to do it when Secret and Vici Gaming are in the building.
Right. But the other thing about it is that just like me, his plan also had teams being invited. I know that Valve took the feedback of don't invite teams to majors or DPC, but I think they really misread that feedback, and it was an overreaction
to a really specific problem, which is teams getting in on name recognition or on their TI7 performance, which had been 8 months prior.
Right, and it was done because organizers were allowed to invite whoever the hell they wanted, which is just not a good way to do it. That doesn't mean you can't have good criteria to invite people.
Yes.
In fact, we know this because CSGO does it, which is another Valve company, obviously. Or Valve property, and they do it well, and no one complains about who gets invited to CSGO majors. Literally no one. So, other things we know about it is that we've heard some information that, actually, let me take it back. We're going to go to a new segment here, and I'll bring, because this is the other information's there. We got a new segment planned. It's called Change My Mind. Some of you who have been in the Discord have seen me preview this, but I've got I've got a strong point to make, and Lorton he knows this point, and he's gonna try and counter argue it.
Spoiler alert, guys. Aden does not change his mind easily or often.
Yes, it's true. All right, so here's my opening statement, Lorton. I'm prepared for your rebuttal. OG were a bad team this year. Not at TI. They were great at TI. But the rest of the year, they were...
They were the best at TI, actually.
Yes, they were. They were far and away the best. But the rest of the year, they were not bad, obviously, but like a tier 3 team. They did not belong in the top 8 of the teams that worked hard.
They were bad compared to our expectations of them and their expectations of themselves.
Right. Let me rephrase it. Maybe bad. They were a tier 3 team.
Sure.
Happy? Okay. They skipped the first major, didn't make the second major, and lost at the minor there. Didn't qualify for second major directly and lost the minor. They didn't qualify for Dream League and lost in that minor. They made MDL and finished tied for 5th, which was a good result. They basically clinched them TI. They made it to Epicenter and finished tied for 7th. Then, of course, they went to TI and dominated. Players like Thompson played at levels completely beyond what we had seen all season. Thompson was not good this year. In fact, he was arguably even sub replacement level. I mean, like both qualitatively and quantitatively, he was bad. And so either there's two options, and one of them is that he got way better randomly at TI because of luck, or that he just they weren't enabling him. He wasn't trying that hard. It's like he was doing the LeBron James loaf through the regular season strat, which is again entirely possible. And then at TI they pulled out Korai, they revitalized Tiny Mid, and they won a lot of money, the most money of any team this year. And it couldn't have happened to a nicer group of guys. But my argument is that it is bad for Dota, it is bad for the pro scene, and it is bad particularly for the Dota fans. Specifically that one, I'm going to argue. Okay, so they earned $15 million at TI. That was almost 5 times as much as Team Secret won the entire DPC regular season, or entire overall thing. Secret won $1.3 million in the DPC, and they won about $2 million at TI. And your puppy, you've seen OG and especially Ana, and essentially not play Dota, or Thompson and not play Dota well all year, and then come in and win TI, make 5 times as much money in you. What is the lesson you take away? First, that money distribution is stupid, granted. But assuming DPC rules are what they are, and they are, you qualify for TI, then you take the rest of the year off. Or you slack off the rest of the year and know that you're good enough that like 1 or 2 of your results will be enough to clinch it. And that sucks for us as fans. All right? We want to see OG and Ana play Dota throughout the year. Okay? I want to, at a major, watch Ana do ridiculous shit. I want to see Thompson playing at like his 10 kills and 4 deaths a game, not his 5 kills and 7 deaths a game rate. Okay? And what happens, and particularly I want to see Peppy and Secret play Dota at the majors. What happens when those teams stop showing up because it's not worth risking even a single placement at TI in order to win one major? Seriously, $350K is the difference between tied for 7th and tied for 15th at the TI. That's one series. That's also what you get for winning a major. So we know that Valve's money distribution is shit. But OG winning shows a roadmap for other top-tier teams to follow, and that might mean worse Dota over the course of the next season. And we're already seeing that. We're already hearing that 4 or 5 top teams will not even participate in the first major. This is bad for Dota fans. It might be bad for the scene as well, but particularly it's bad for Dota fans. And if it's bad for Dota fans, that means it's bad for the scene. Because ultimately, Dota fans are what makes the scene viable. Lorton, change my mind.
Okay, I will try. First of all, I would love to, a really good persuader would start by agreeing with all the things we have in common. First, yeah, the money distribution does provide a perverse incentive to focus overwhelmingly on TI that we surely agree on, and we agree a different payout structure would change that perverse incentive. I think we also agree that player burnout is a real thing, and that part of Anna's at least play at TI was him coming in rested and recovered from from a long season. And we don't know what, for example, I think Secret's a great example. We don't know what Secret's recovery level was, although they did boot camp in China, and they did that specifically because they wanted to be well adjusted to the time zone and all that. But all that is to say, I still think you're mixing up the correlation and causation on OG winning. I think if you're a normal human being who's trying to win money at esports, you want more tickets to the game. And I think the way you have more tickets to the game is you play in all 5 majors and TI. Or if you're really, really good, you sit out 1 or 2 majors and you play 3 majors and TI. And I think that would be smart for Secret, or maybe Secret plays, they rotate out 1 player for 4 of the majors. So so Zai and Yapsor are sitting for a major, and they play with subs. They can afford the lost points. And I would further argue that if they're sitting out 1 major, or if they're playing with subs for 1 major, that's not bad for the game, because we get to see 1 extra team or a couple extra players that we wouldn't normally get to see, especially if they're playing with subs. We get to see them mix and match, which I think would be fun. I think it would be cool to see, and I think it would not ruin the Dota experience in the slightest.
Okay, so I mean, we've already seen what happens when when you have big tournaments that top teams don't go to, minors. All right, viewership is way lower.
Yes.
And again, I mean, maybe they won't. I mean, one of the things I think we don't know here is what Puppy will do. Puppy might just be like, I want to fucking play at majors because I like playing Dota and I like strategizing and I like doing it, and they do it anyways, and that's fine. That's great. That's best for us.
And we don't actually know. Well, I suppose if there are DPC points on the line, Secret's not getting appearance fees for these.
Right. Right. So I guess, I mean, but it still comes down to this idea that we as fans, like most of us will only have a chance to go to at most 1 Dota event, like 1 major this year. And it really, the idea that I could show up to a major and my favorite team has decided not to come to that major sucks. It's like if you go to a basketball game and LeBron James like, nah, I'm not playing this game. Like, you went to the game to watch LeBron James, you know? By that sense, like, I would rather go to a game to watch Giannis play, because I know Giannis is going to kick ass at whatever game he's playing right now. And LeBron, who knows? Like, I'm not going to necessarily see anything special. And I think that I'm not saying this is bad for the players necessarily, at least at the front. Like, OG, clearly, they came out on top. Yeah. What they chose to do was not bad for them. It was, in fact, really good for them. They got to vacation. They got a lot of money. They got to win. I think it's bad for us still. I
mean, I buy the argument, but will you also concede my point that just because that's how OG won TI does not make it the optimal strategy?
So we don't know what the optimal strategy is. This is one of those like very small sample size things. What I'm worried about is that essentially they've done it twice. Now, 1 year it wasn't by choice. OG formed, in the last minute, but Anna took the year off, and it happened last year. And even and I think even there's an element of Liquids finishing second just after kicking somebody that suggests that teams that do not play together all season long might have an advantage. Now, I mean, LGD is the counter argument. So, sure. But, the top teams that really grinded, that showed up at all 5 events, had played really well. Secret, VP, and Vici Gaming. Although I guess Vici Gaming didn't play that well. One major, the first major.
Right.
But the other 4...
EG and LGD.
I mean, you could even argue that did EG and LGD... I don't know. They may have been... LGD may have been cruising a little bit during the regular season as well. Remember, they took time off for maybe.
Yeah, maybe had
took
a great one season. Major off.
And they did better at TI than they did at any tournament.
It's true.
I mean, that's we're splitting hairs on that one. So I will concede that's not particularly good evidence. But I just wonder if this is the incentives, if that teams are going to look at this and learn the lesson, whether it's right or wrong. I don't know if it's right or wrong lesson, but they're going to learn the lesson regardless, or at least think they learned the lesson. And it seems like teams are already taking off the first major. So, like, no team did that last year, right? Except for OG.
And Liquid.
Right, but they didn't qualify first, and then they took off because they didn't want to do the minor.
Yes,
so it's different if you lose first than say, we didn't try.
It's all true, and right. And as a person who wants to empower the players, I mean, this puts us in, or it puts me in kind of an uncomfortable, like heads you win and tails I lose kind of situation, where I want to make sure the players are well rested, because this we can make all the jokes we want about how they're just flying business class and playing video games. How hard is that? These guys are pro athletes who are working their bodies and their brains to the absolute max. And so to get them, getting them the rest and recovery they need is critical for us to get the Dota that we want to watch at the highest level.
Sure.
And at the same time, we want an entertaining product. So does that mean that 5 majors is too many? I don't know. 5 majors felt about right last year.
Right. And I don't think it's the top teams that are struggling with most with the scheduling. It's got to be those teams who are going minor, major, or major qualifier, minor qualifier. They're the ones who have to do it. I mean, the top teams had to play 1 qualifier, 1 major, and they were really close together. So I actually understand, like, scheduling could be better for them. But you have like 4 days of qualifiers and 10 days of a tournament every 6 weeks. Yeah. That's not that bad. Like, you can't argue that that's killer. It is a little bit worse if you add another tournament in there in a different place, and and another like week of qualifiers. So I will grant you, and PPD complained about it for NIP, and I think he was right to do so.
Well, right. And I mean, talk about small sample size, but whose team competed in more events than NIP? I don't think anybody competed in more events than NIP. And look where it got them at the end of the year. Right.
And again, like, they're the teams that that actually may not have a choice. They're the ones who need to play every event. So they have to grind. I mean, PPD doesn't, but like, you actually think about it, like, there are guys in that team who they need, I don't know, that need the money is not the right word, but they're like,
they're still trying to make it in this game.
33, for example, he does not have some great history of like, like a couple $1 million from event, from TI 3 years ago. Right.
Right.
So it does, like, I mean, I'm sure not every event, but I'm sure that they have a little different incentives than OG or maybe even Secrets players.
Yes.
Like Puppy.
Okay. So have we resolved anything from this conversation? I mean, like, I agree we've definitely gotten into more detail about the problem. I don't know where we go from here though, Aden.
I don't really either. I don't feel like my mind, I mean, I think you've successfully pointed out that we don't know whether teams will choose that or not, choose to learn the lesson or not. But the fact that, again, that Demon's telling us that 4 or 5 teams aren't going to go to the first major, top teams aren't going to go to the first major, kind of worries me. Again, I mean, if Liquid, for example, if Liquid, OG, who knows what VPs, LGD, actually I think LGD is one of the teams that probably is going to take a break. Like, if those teams don't go again, like, that event loses a lot of luster. I'm not going to lie.
I agree, it does. And maybe the off season needs to be longer.
Sure.
Or maybe there needs to be a series of minors in place of that first major. 2 minors, like you were suggesting.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
Although that depends on who you invite. But yeah. All right. I don't think my mind's changed, but I have softened.
Okay. And my mind hasn't changed either.
All right. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about teams and the reshuffle. So last year,
say that again.
And the reshuffle.
Okay, thanks. It was funny the second time too.
Reshuffle.
I would just call it a shuffle, but reshuffle is pretty good too.
Okay, so actually, that's a good point. It is actually called. Is it called the shuffle? Okay, for some reason. All right, whatever. Yeah, it's the shuffle. So last year we played a game we invented, which was disband, stand pat, shuffle, and the idea was to predict, taking groups of 3 teams, which team we would, if we were in charge, would disband, stand pat, and shuffle. And that's because a lot of the teams then it was ambiguous. This time we have a much better idea already of what teams are going to shuffle and what teams are. And the answer is almost all the teams are going to shuffle in some way, shape, or form, or have already shuffled. So that game didn't make as much sense. So now instead we're going to play a similar version, but we're going to ask a different thing each time. So without further ado, we got our first group right now. OG, Liquid, and LGD. It seems OG and LGD are confirmed to be standing pat with their roster, at least to start. Liquid is not sure. They're keeping their 4 with We is up in the air, but my inclination is to say it's probably 70-30 they keep him.
Likely they will bring him back,
right?
Especially if the rules are the same and they have the luxury of kicking him in a few months anyway.
Whatever, yeah. So, Lorton, which of those teams is making the right move? Which of them is making the wrong move? And which one are you still not sure about?
Sure. The right move is obvious, and I don't even know that there's much justification needed. OG is making the right move by standing pat. How are you going to improve on this? The team of love and friendship. You think they should just kick Jerax?
Do you think he's like the least friendly of them?
I don't know. He seems like a great dude. I think Seb is the least friendly. Come on.
But Seb and No Tail have like a true bromance.
Oh, no question about it. I don't. Well,
I'm
like
just saying,
I said, I don't think anybody should leave.
Who do you think like deep down? Who do you think is the least favorite? Like if they had to vote secret ballot, and they all honestly were like, which guy do they like the least on their team?
It's an impossible question.
Absolutely impossible.
It would be. I mean, it might be Anna, to be quite frank.
Okay, fair. Okay, fair.
But yeah, the team of love and friendship is not going anywhere and should not be going anywhere. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I think that LGD is just plain wrong to stand pat. I have no issue with any of these specific 5 players. I think Ame and Maybe are excellent cores. I think Chalice, our first team TI offlaner, FY God, who I lobbied to get onto our all TI teams, and Xnova, arguably the best support in China. Like I said, I have no issue with any of the 5 players, and I think this team has been together too long and needs fresh ideas. So I think they need to sub in one person just to get some freshness.
So I will note that I agree with you on this one. I think we're going to stick right with it, or agree, complete agreement. Please note that LG did remove or lose their coach, fire their coach, whatever you want to call it. And I think that we even talked about in the last episode that they perhaps don't have the best in-game decisive voice of all things. I have praised. So one thing we know about FY is FY didn't like being captain for Vici. He doesn't seem like that decisive leader type. We also know that Xnova is the most talented, mechanically talented support I think that we in China. Mm-hmm. Do you agree? Or position 5 maybe.
We've heard that from more than one source. Yeah. It seems likely to be true.
Or
true enough.
Maybe this is the situation where you need to downgrade the mechanical skill there and pick up a hard ass to dictate to the team what they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough, especially when they speak a foreign language. But if you judge by what you see from Xnova in True Sight and his body language and his general demeanor, you would not think of him at least as the alpha shy caller.
Right. No, absolutely true.
Which leaves us with Liquid. I am not sure whether Liquid should be standing pat or not, because. Sure, the kicking Matumba Man for Wii experiment, it'd be hard to argue it didn't work. It seems to have worked. And yet, at the same time, I sense staleness coming from this team, and I don't think it was coming from the mid. I think GH and Mind Control are, especially in a world where I consider 3 and 4 position basically interchangeable now. They both play they both play a more farmed support. And you need variety. You need to be able to show a lot from your 3 and 4 position, and I think we know everything these Liquid guys do.
I would agree. I'm going to go with different tact here. My argument is simply this: we don't know what Liquid is with we. Is Liquid the group stage Liquid, or are they the main event Liquid, lower bracket run Liquid? And if
group stage Liquid sucked, dude.
If they're group stage Liquid, they need to shuffle. If they're main event Liquid, stand pat, my friends. So, yeah. I mean, you're showing me 2 different teams, and one of them should shuffle, one of them shouldn't.
Totally.
All right.
And Miracle first team all TI carry. That guy was pretty good. I'm gonna serve you up the next one, Aiden. That'd be all right with you?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So there are rumors swirling of these 3 tier 1 teams either shuffling or disbanding, depending on how you define those words. Those teams are Virtus Pro, who it's rumored that Ramses is out, correct? Secret, rumored pretty strongly that Mid One is out, and EG rumors that Sumail is out. Oh, and also S4.
Heard S4, but Sumail is the most recent one.
Yeah.
And I would argue let's call the three stars, right? Ramses, Sumail, Mid One would be arguably. I mean, Mid One maybe not the tier 1 star, but those are 3 of the
these
stars
are all
of the
star
team.
players, no question.
All right. So what's your question?
Oh, sorry. Which one of these is right to shuffle? Which one is wrong, and which one are you not sure on?
VP is right to shuffle, not because of performance, but because everything we're sort of hearing on the down low is that this team was not happy together. They'd worn out each other's welcome. Happens. Teams go through this with coaches. You ever hear that in the NFL? It's like the coach has worn out his welcome. These players
you
have
can
worn
only
out each other.
take 3 years of Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, they've worn out each other's welcome. And so it's not a question of Ramses or anything like that, but or his particular playing. Although God knows his drafts.
Not
always making me happy. Put him on a team with a drafter, please God, or pick up a coach that'll draft for you. I don't know. Either way, but I think
there are solutions to that problem.
That is the right move, in my opinion. I think that the wrong move is Secret moving on from Mid One. Okay, this is again a team which, as far as we know, does not have internal issues. Right? I mean, we've heard nothing about them being unpleasant with one another or disliking each other. It's hard to imagine Nisha ever shows any emotion to his teammates towards one another. Zai also can't imagine he has ever shown anything. Yapsor gets everything he wants in the team, so how can he be upset about his teammates? So it's hard. Like, there seems no internal dissension. This is still a great team. They did not. Mid One struggled at TI. But we also know that from the past that there are many pros who have said that Mid One was the best mid in the world. So unless you think you have somebody, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was unsure about Secret picking up Nisha last year. I wasn't positive about it. It worked out great. But unless Puppy has a specific person who he is quite confident is going to be superior to Mid One in that role, and I just don't know if I don't know how that can be the case because I think he's very good. This is a bad
there
move.
are rumors of Matumba Man, and in a way, I can see it because Nisha has been so good and so reliable, and Matumba Man's role in a lot of ways was to take the 2-position table scraps, and so if there's what is the highest profile 2-position table scraps role available in the DPC, it would be on the Secret team. So I can see the argument for Matumba Man. Still, I don't want to see Mid One go. I'm with you there. I answered this question a little differently. Oh, and you haven't mentioned EG yet.
Oh, so EG is going to be my not sure, mostly because I'm not. I think it's a different answer for the two. I think it's an interesting answer. It depends on what other moves are made. I think that EG would be smart to build around Sumail if they could get other players around him, but. We've also heard a rumor that Abed is the one that they're picking up. And if that's the case, that's not the worst trade out you could ever make. So,
and Sumail is a vocal person, not necessarily always in game, but vocal in. He talks a lot of shit, and it's possible that they might want someone who handles their business a little more quietly. Which I mean, there are rooms for all types in this esport, and if Sumail is a different personality from the one you want to hire, luckily EG they've shown that they can hire pretty much anybody.
All right, what did you think?
So I had EG is right to be shuffling. I think Sumail and Arteezy have been there too long, and the S4 problems are well documented. So I have no issue with EG shuffling. I think VP. I said VP is wrong to shuffle, and I mean, I buy your argument, Aiden. You follow this team a lot more closely than I do, but all I can say is this 5-stack is capable of performing at the highest level. And so they need to fix the real issue, which is mental. And maybe they needed to fix the real issue a year ago, before they got to this point, which is probably the real answer. My answer was not sure on Secret. Besides LGD, this was the most consistent team. I mean, if you throw out their the epicenter performance where they got basically last place, you had second, first, fourth, first. I mean, you cannot get better than, and then fourth at TI. You can't get much better than that. And Mid 1 was a huge key to their success, as we highlighted in our all DPC teams episode. That being said, Mid 1 was hot garbage at TI, and if the team lost all faith in him to do his job at TI, I mean, how do you recover from that other than kicking him?
Fair. Quick little follow up. Which of those rumors would you be least surprised is wrong? So in other words, which of those moves do you think is most likely to not be made?
I think, like, if you were to ask me which of these three teams is most likely to stick together, it would be Secret.
All right, I mean, that's fair. I think the specific move, I think Sumail is least likely to leave EG. That would be the least surprising to me, is if he stayed. Of those specific, of Ramses, Sumail, and
Mid 1.
And Mid
sure.
1.
Oh yeah, because right, you could argue that Sumail is worth a Godfather offer to just say, hey, we'll back up the money truck and you stay here at EG.
All right, so following up, next one here. 3 teams, significant teams, have lost a star player or solid player for them, and it's been confirmed. Which of these teams is going to be hurt the most by losing that player? Which of these teams is going to be hurt the least, or maybe even improved by losing them? And which of these teams is you're not sure about? So Vici lost Fade. Fade retired. SCCC left Newbie, and he's going to be on Team Master. And Cuckoo has left TNC, unclear his choice or not.
Yes. First of all, SCCC is right to be leaving Team Newbie. He is too good a player. He's too talented to play for a team that is crap and possibly can't afford to pay him. I mean, that one seems like a no-brainer. Fade is wrong for leaving Vici Gaming, especially if the rumors are true that he's leaving because he feels that he is solely responsible for the team's abysmal top 6 finish.
There are other
TI.
rumors that he did it because he tried to negotiate a better salary and got caught by lying about RNG's contact.
Oh, well.
No, so do you know this story? Okay, so apparently he approached RNG and basically then told his boss, Vici Gaming's owner, that RNG offered him a better salary in an attempt to get a better salary. Vici Gaming's owner was like, tweeted about like basically, or Weibo to fuck you to RNG, like get the fuck out and stay away from our players. And RNG was like, WTF, mate. In fact, specifically that in an Australian accent. They hired someone just to, give them the and Vici Gaming's owner was like, yeah, I checked with my player and it turned out that was my bad. Not your fault. And then Fade was like, I'm out. Unclear how much that happened, which the failure at TI or that, or how much that part is true. So, but that's the rumor.
It's a hilarious story. I mean, from the biased place where I sit, no employee should have to retire, much less even feel sorry for using every tactic at their disposal to try to get adequate compensation. I don't know, maybe outright lying about a contact, sure. If he actually had an offer in hand, I feel like that's a slightly different story.
Especially, I mean, so I mean, that's true if he had an offer in hand. I think the dicey part comes in if he's under contract, and I think that when most teams are under contract, it's like in the NBA, it's tampering.
No tampering,
right?
Sure.
So I mean, and tampering is considered bad and.
Bad
so
form,
if I mean, he was essentially tampering on himself. I don't know, or accusing other team of tampering when they didn't. Anyways,
in any case, this team Vici Gaming shot from irrelevance to the top of the DPC and finished a respectable top 6 at TI. I don't think he needs to go. Cuckoo, I'm very unsure about. On one hand, this TNC team was extremely competitive at TI. Their series against Vici Gaming was a clash of the titans. And at the same time, Cuckoo was the root cause of a huge problem for the TNC organization this year. Not getting to go, or getting crippled at the Chongqing Major, and then the fallout from that, getting chased to their dressing room by rabid Chinese fans, which, by the way, we don't approve of that behavior from the Chinese. All the same, this was Cuckoo's fault if you could blame it on any member of TNC. So from that perspective, I mean, I can see it.
Okay, I agree totally with your analysis there. So I'm gonna answer the same question, or the parallel question: which team is this worst for, as opposed to player?
I like that.
So I think arguably the first instinct would be to say SCCC was newbie star player. Losing him hurts the worst. But I'm actually going to disagree with that. I think this is
right. Well, like if you lose 80% of 0.
Right. So my disagreement is this. This is the situation of newbie needs to rebuild with youth players, and keeping SCCC around and trying to rehash the same team to try and get to TI is going to do nothing for them. You see this in sports all the time. So when teams trade away their best player because they don't have anything to surround them.
Got to build around Carmelo Anthony.
Right. I mean, just like, they had to make a choice.
Sorry, SCCC. It's a rude analogy.
That is a rude analogy. But I think newbie just needs to completely hit the reset button, because trying to retread around SCCC wasn't going to work. I think Vici losing Fade hurts. I mean, Fade was our first pick for DPC position 4 player. Right. First team. He was great this year. Led the team in assists. He was the captain calling the shots. We know he doesn't draft. We know RTK is the real captain of the team, but if Fade is the in-game shot caller as far as we know. The team for most of the season looked fucking crisp. And TNC, that's another one again. Is the team better off losing a distraction? Are they even distracted by Cuckoo? I mean, it seemed like they were at TI, but most of the season, are they? But on the other hand, this is a team that is a clear 2 core, and Cuckoo was one of the most sacrificial and best at being sacrificial offlaners in the game this year, and I think he fits perfectly with that team. So if they replace him with an equally talented player without the distraction, they have benefited.
Agreed.
All right, this was just a heads or tail or 2-team question here. Only, as far as we know, only 2 teams not of the non-top 3 from TI are sticking together. That is Infamous and Alliance, although they're not Infamous anymore. They're back currently as and Vorgisa. And they probably don't need a sponsor. They got some money, thank goodness. Yep. Who is making the right move sticking together, Infamous or Alliance?
I'm so angry that you made me ask one of these teams to shuffle, because of course I want them both to stick together. And
bullshit. You don't want to stick together. You want Alliance to give up Mickey, and you're gonna have him.
I have put that in our show notes. I've never tweeted it or put it in the Discord, but yes, that is a fact. If I were gonna take anyone for mid-one's replacement, it would be Mickey. Who I thought we could get. Anyhow, that being said, I think Alliance is right to stick together. They have a plan. Loda has outlined that plan, which is we're going to stick together and we're going to develop our talent. And I think they have their perception of their definition of success is appropriate for the level of talent they have. Now, it pains me to say then that means Infamous is supposed to shuffle, but I did uncover a tidbit of a stat, which is that in their 3 losses on the main stage, do you know who had the worst stat line every time? It was Schofield, their 4 position. He was the problem in all 3 of their main stage losses. Double-digit deaths and lower kill participation than their 5 position, Stinger. So if they were going to lose one person, I think it should be Schofield, and that's the slimmest margin by which I choose Anvergesa to shuffle over Alliance.
Okay, I'm going the other way, and here's my argument why. Alliance has steadily improved over the last year and a half they've had this roster. Their improvement has been about the same as what Infamous improved in the past 4 months, or ex-Infamous improved in the last 4 months. Okay? I got to go with Infamous. They have improved rapidly. They have more potential in that situation. Plus, I think Alliance have one player who they should shuffle out. And this is hard for me to say because he was my first Dota crush. But Quafa, you don't fit with the rest of that team. The rest of that team is younger, up-and-coming players. Quafa, you are not going to get better. You hit your peak at TI 5 or whatever, and it's never going to be the same. They should find some other player who is going to improve the way he has, or just a better player. If they really want a Swedish player, guess who's a free agent? My boy. You know the answer to this. My boy Limp.
Yep.
I think Limp's better than Quafa. That's my opinion. But I mean, or find a Thompson type, whatever, a younger player. But that's specific. I mean, I just think that Infamous's trajectory is superior to Alliance's.
It's a good argument, Aden.
Okay. And by the way, Infamous's trajectory should only improve now that they've got money to support themselves, right? I mean, like all of a sudden,
one would hope.
I mean, one thing we know in education is that like people learn better when they don't have other things weighing on their mind.
Yes.
Money makes other things less important.
As my good friend Canada Andrew Yang has said, money doesn't solve all your problems, but it actually solves money problems remarkably well.
That's fair.
All right, Aden. We have another group of 3. These are teams for whom we have no information yet, so you get to classify them fuck, marry, kill. I mean, sorry, stand pat, shuffle, and disband. Those 3 teams would be Na'Vi, Keen Gaming, and RNG, vanquishers of your boys Virtus Pro.
All right, I think the obvious one is disband is Keen. They not good. They were good for a very brief period of time. They're not good anymore. Blow it up. Difficult to argue against that.
Yeah, you don't want to sit back on your runner-up at WESG laurels.
The next one's tougher. But I'm going to go that RNG should shuffle. Here is why. First of all, they're a little bit older. Na'Vis are fairly young players. By the way, yes. I think Na'Vi, some rumors are suggesting they're going to they might pick up some VP pieces. But we haven't heard anything official.
There's a rumor of Resolution also.
That the Na'Vi Twitter, they did that with just a picture. Resolution was wearing Na'Vi gear, but then later the Na'Vi Twitter was just like, he just likes our gear. So who knows? That might be cheeky. But I think RNG, the other thing about it is that RNG has got a bunch of veterans, and I think it's easier to swap in a veteran player for that team. Plus, I think there's just a bigger pool of successful, experienced players in China that you could find than there are in CIS. I mean, sure, there are some, Afoninj, FNG, but there's better options in China than those that you could find. So I'm gonna go with RNG shuffling and Na'Vi stand pat.
Okay, so it's just for lack of better, same language speakers.
I mean, part of that's true. I mean, again, you always, when you say, I mean, I've argued this for years. When you fire your coach, you shouldn't be firing your coach in a vacuum. Can you get a better coach?
Yes.
So
the question should always be compared to what. And so, I can appreciate that. And much as I love to give you shit, my take is exactly the same.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So we have heard that 2 players are coming. 2 players of TI winner fame. 2 TI winners are coming out of retirement, right? Playing retirement. Chuan has announced that he is ready to grind the leaderboard and get back into it, and Aoi has already been announced as part of a team. Who's making the right choice?
I don't think either of them is right to come out of retirement. I feel like Chuan's a TI winner who likely had a lucrative streaming deal, and AUI was possibly the breakout coach of TI with newbies' unexpected success. So to see either of them returning to playing is not what I want to see. Still, if one of them is already on a team and the other one's plan is to grind the MMR leaderboards to try to attract a team, clearly the guy who already has a team is in a better position here.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I mean, I agree with you. All right. Last one of this, then we're going to do something a little different here. Who is the most... There have been 3 major players who are changing positions that we know of, or at least have rumored about. Sorry. Ramses to position 3. Snaking moving from 3 to 4. That one is the most... Well, we're not 100% sure. He's on a team... He was listed as 4 in a couple of sources, but Moon Meander's the other guy, and I mean, he's played some support before. And finally, officially, SCCC is moving to position 1 for Team Aster. Which of these position switches is most likely to work, and which one's least likely to work?
Sure. Most likely to work is snaking. As I said just moments ago, I consider in the current paradigm of Dota, 3 and 4 position are basically the same. They're both farmed supports. And so if he's going to move from one farmed support role to the other farmed support role, I think that'll be no issue, especially knowing the personnel is him and Moon. It seems like a match made in heaven. Second most likely to work is SCCC. When SCCC was at his most successful as a mid player was when the mid role was a lot less sacrificial, was a lot more of a carry. And so for him to move to full carry, I think that's going to work great. Which leaves us with Ramses. I think Ramses moving to 3 is the least likely to work. I've known a lot of people who play carry. And I'm thinking of our friend Larry, actually. Larry plays carry. And when Larry doesn't play carry, sometimes he still ends up playing carry. and so I feel like you can take the carry out of the safe lane, but can you take the farming instinct out of the carry?
All right, so I'm going to go hard the other direction here. I think Ramses is going to be successful as an offlaner if he ends up doing that. And I think this because first of all, his first pro experience was playing offlaner. We know that for VP, when Pasha was out, he played offlane and they picked up FN for safe lane. Ramses is a capable offlaner. Will he be a possible... I mean, he may not ever hit the heights of being like, the best carry in the league, which is what he hit last year. He might not ever be the best offlaner in the league, but he is going to be a top 8 offlaner, in my opinion, if he plays that position. I don't think you have any guarantee that Snake King is going to match his... I mean, what was he, a top 12 offlaner?
Yeah.
Is he going to match that as a 4? No guarantee. SCCC, is he going to match?
Well, wait, but hold on. This is a false.
Okay, that's right. So the question is who's going to be most successful, or who is going to get closest to their previous success?
Well, but it does not matter. It does not matter how you rank among all the 4s in the world. What matters is how you contribute to your team. And I'm saying Snake King's contribution to his team is going to be just the same as it was before because the 3 and 4 position are interchangeable.
I think he's got more downside.
Okay.
I'm going to say SCCC has the most downside. I think Snake King I'm unsure about.
Okay.
But SCCC, I think, partially because I'm comparing SCCC to his heyday when he was arguably like the top 3 mid, and the odds he's going to be a top 3 carry, pretty low. Like,
okay.
That's just like statistically not good odds. All right. So to continue our little shuffle madness here, I thought we'd play a little fun game here. Just of the free agents, we got a list of the free agents available, at least the ones I thought you might even consider picking. And I thought we'd do a little free agent draft here.
Nice.
So for the carries, Skemberlu, Tomato, Nico Baby, Mason, and Black are some of the ones you might have heard of. We've got in the mid lane Limp, Dendi, and Magi. Off lane, Universe, Kezu, and Cuckoo are all available. And then in the 4 position, Milan, maybe next time, Z-Freak, and Raging Potato are available. And then in the 5 position, we've got Dubu, Adam, Peksu, Cinderin, and I got Adam listed twice. He is not available twice. He's available once. So if you were... I'll give you a little snake draft, but I'll give you the first pick. Or do you want the second pick? I'll let you choose picks here.
Okay, so I can pick any player from this player pool that I want.
But you get 1 per position. So once you've picked a mid...
Yes, I understand. Yeah. Okay. Boy, the carries all have warts. To me... I wasn't exactly sure where you were going with this when I saw it on the notes, so I'm not fully prepared.
That's fair. That's fair.
There's only one offlaner I want. It's Cuckoo.
Okay. Fair enough. I think it's a solid choice to go there. I will argue, though, that perhaps that might be the deepest thing, but you know where I'm going. I'm going mid lane. I'm picking up my boy Limp.
I knew
Dendi
you
is
would.
over the hill. Maggie is unproven. Limp is proven. and still playing well, even if complexity wasn't that good this past year.
Sure.
Since we're snake drafting it, I'm going straight to carry now. I'm picking up Nico Baby. All right. Scam and Tomato, immaturity issues. Mason and Black, over the hill. Nico Baby, just right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm sure he has no maturity issues that we talked about in prior episodes.
That's fair. But you know what? He at least has room to grow.
Yep.
We know that, like, no shots at Black, but we know that Black is not getting better. All right, well, who's your next pick here?
My next pick here is going to be Raging Potato. So we actually saw him perform probably the best he ever has at this most recent TI. 23 years old, Filipino. I like this kid, and I know you need a 4 position. You're probably going to take Z-Freak.
You get another pick.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, I'm not going to take Z-Freak, sorry.
You can't. It's against the rules.
No, and so the question is, do I value any of these captains enough to try to snake them from you? I do.
I can't take a position 1 or 2 at this point, so you might as well not take
true.
a captain.
Yeah. All right, with Cuckoo and Raging Potato, I don't need a seasoned captain with like lots with many years under his belt like Cinderin. I go with Dubu.
Okay. All right. I mean, he was a good player.
Yes.
I am going to pick up then my position 4, Z-Freak, and I'm going to pick up my captain here. I'm going to pick up Peksu.
All right.
Cinderin, he's been trying to form stacks for a while, and I want him not to do that so he can keep being a commentator. And Adam, I don't know. I just think Peksu's got a higher ceiling, younger.
I feel exactly the same way.
And I'm just going to go ahead and pick my offlaner as well because you're not going to pick him or anything like that. This is really hard. Universe versus Kezu hurts me because I think I've always had some doubts about
walk me through your
Universe.
thought process there because I consider Universe a lot more talented. And
is he motivated though still? I mean, he didn't really end up on a team this year. He basically just like left. Who was he on? He was on Forward Gaming or JStorm. I can't remember which one.
He was on Forward Gaming.
He was on Forward. Didn't look good.
I better confirm that.
I'm pretty sure you're right. Because Moo was the offlaner for JStorm for most of the series.
Yeah. He was on Forward Gaming. And he is not listed on a team for TI qualifiers.
Yeah, so he's lost motivation. On the other hand, we've seen Kezu, and Kezu is what he is.
Yep.
So I'm going to go Universe against my instincts, but my instincts also, well, again, not against my instincts. My instincts also said not to pick Kezu, so, great instincts.
Yeah, excellent. Good stuff. All right, so I'm looking for my mid and my carry. For the mid, I am between Dendy and Mag E. I go with Mag E because he's a younger player. I love Dendy. I mean, like if we were going to be collecting appearance fees, like Dendy's getting Carmelo a lot of
Anthony
selfies.
At this point,
I feel like there's got to be a more lovable analog here.
But I'm not wrong.
In terms of talent level, sure. Yeah, he's 2019 Carmelo Anthony in terms of his value as a Dota player. Okay, so I go Maggie in the mid lane, which leaves me carries. So I would be choosing. Yeah, I agree with you. Mason and Black are over the hill. I'm choosing between Skemberloo and Tomato. I don't actually know who is the better player. I like Skemberloo a little better. I enjoyed his time on Complexity. Other than the incident, if you will. So I go with Skem.
All right, fair enough. We'll be judged not by how those teams do, but maybe we'll see which of those players actually ends up making a major or two.
Yeah. Good luck to all of my guys.
Many of them will not.
All right, Aiden, read off your roster real quickly. I'll do the same, and then let's move on.
My team is Nico Baby, Limp, Universe, Z-Freak, and Peksu.
Skemberloo, Maggie, Cuckoo, Raging Potato, and Dubu.
Okay.
4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 SEA.
I feel like we've picked some minor teams.
Indeed. All right, low prio.
So look, it's been a little time since we've had some community events, some Glimpse community events, and we are looking to get back on that horse.
Yeah, Team Aden versus Team Lorton. So Aden, when's the next one? It's coming right up, right?
September is not good for us, so we're going to do it for October. We'll get you that date soon. We are also the long rumored Glimpse Underlords tournament, which will be easy to schedule because we don't care who the fuck shows up, because Underlords doesn't require 5-on-5 or anything like that. So it'll be a lot easier.
You don't have to
for us
balance
to deal
the
with
teams.
Don't balance teams. Only 6. Play Underlords. Only whatever. We also have heard that our resident Underlords expert Nestico has offered to play with a handicap. He says that he will allow his child to spit up on the screen. It's therefore blocking some of it. Seriously,
it's like a Mario Kart handicap.
He's much better than us. And finally, we are coming up on the wonderful time that is knowing what all the shuffles moves have been. And that means we will have the DPC team draft. As you know, last year, Jason and audio engineer
This
Jason
is a fantasy draft where we
yeah.
pick teams to guess how many DPC points they're going to score.
Yes. And as you know, last year, Lorton and I ran away with it. Audio engineer Jason and our
replacement
friend
level
Adam both struggled. Although replacement level Adam did point out that he drafted the top 3 finishers at TI. Tough luck. They don't count for DPC points. Sucka. Well done, but not so much well done. And so instead this year, we would like to open it up to our audience to come in and be the other 2 drafters along with us.
Yes.
Please note, the primary criteria for whether you get to be a drafter is basically whether you're available at the time we want to record.
Stop that.
No, that is the prime.
You have to apply.
You have to apply, but that's still going to be the primary, the biggest one.
Yeah.
But
right. If you have the best application and you can't make it to the episode, you will not be in.
Yes. But in order to apply, you must do the following 2 things, which will be used as to pick essentially who we offer the spot to first.
I'm going to stop you right there, Aden. Listener, if you'd like to apply to be in our 4-person fantasy league of DPC teams, you have to do one thing, which is you have to DM your application through Discord to Aden or me. That should be easy to do if you're already a Discord member, or if you join, it's very easy to figure out who we are in the Discord. Now, what you have to DM us is an idea. That is a product, real or fictional, that should sponsor the Glimpse, along with why you think it's a good idea. If you do this in audio format, I guarantee you that's a leg up, because then we can play it on the show instead of just having to read it on the show. So that's your order. DM us an idea for a product that should sponsor the Glimpse. It could be a real product. It could be a fictional product that you want us to write a fake advertisement for.
Are you suggesting that fictional products have been sponsoring the Glimpse?
Oh, sorry. I didn't think they were fictional. I just thought the Alchemist Eats thing was still in development.
Yes, exactly.
And obviously, OutdoorGamingPCs.com, thriving business, doing great. They know their market. They
have just been added to the NASDAQ, right?
That's right. And not to mention the Matumba Man zip-off pants that go great with them.
Okay, those are real products. You can find those.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, so DM us your product idea if you would like to be in the DPC fantasy draft, where there will be 4 total people: Aden, me, and 2 of you.
All right. Get us those ideas, and look forward to when we know the shuffle's going to be, which we don't know the date yet. But
move it along, Aden.
Yes, we were trying to get this under an hour. We have failed, but we are close. So let's get the last hits out of the way. Lorton, what did you think of the reveal of Snapfire and Void Spirit, the 2 new heroes that were announced at TI9? How excited are you to have them as additions to the game?
I'm going to quote friend of the show, Dan Offen, who has once again, or who said a long time ago, they're not allowed to add any more heroes to the game until I've figured out what the fuck Oracle does.
Fair.
And in ways, like, the old man in me feels that, like, get off my lawn. But I don't know. Like the Snapfire promo, I thought especially looked kind of cool. Like, this thing can summon a dragon or rides a dragon, or anyway. I think these heroes have the potential to be pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Aden, question from alert Discord member Demented. not exactly a direct TI question, but what do you guys make? This is a Twitter question. It's not a TI question. What do you guys? Or it's also a Reddit question. Anyway, what do you guys make of Scansor's rant about the Reddit post of Mia Stelberg? Who's Mia Stelberg, Aiden?
She is the psychologist who worked with OG, among
Correct.
other things.
The post of Mia. And the story is someone posted a picture of Mia Stelberg looking hot.
And that was it.
And it got upvoted to shit. Weird that would happen on our Dota 2. Anyhow, so the alert Discord member Demented continues. Don't mean to stir anything up, but I know Scant is a friend of the podcast, and I wondered if you guys have an opinion. In my view, it just seems like Scant is reading too much into a post that got massively upvoted primarily because it directly related to OG's success and not because the psychologist is a woman.
All right,
your thoughts,
so
Aiden?
Here I'm going to assume one thing: that you accept the Dota 2 and all our listeners accept the Dota 2 community is sexist. I think that's a pretty easy thing to do, right?
I accept that 100% of people are biased, and we've seen rampant evidence in the Dota 2 community that bias against women is unfortunately too prevalent.
Yes. If you don't, I follow Woman in Dota on Twitter.
Yeah.
And
a great follow and also a tough follow at the same time.
Yeah, it hurts a little bit to follow her. So here's the issue. We don't know what the intent of the person who posted the Mia Stelberg.
Well, and speaking of intent, the alert Discord member Demented suggests that it got massively upvoted primarily because of the success. We don't know why it was massively upvoted.
Right. So here's the thing. Most of the time, when there is something that is not blatant, obviously, if someone says women are worse at Dota than men, that is a sexist viewpoint. But there's a lot more less blatant, not they're not sexist, or but there's a lot more less blatant examples of sexism. Okay, and one of the problems with them is that you don't know that you can't always know what the intent of the person saying them is. So,
and by the way, if a person attempted to post that with the clear intent in their mind of celebrating Mia's success as a psychologist and chose to do it in that way, could you still argue it was a sexist action even if the intent was not sexist?
Well, yes, because if that was your intent to celebrate her folks, you would post an article, not a picture. But
right, or at least post some stats along with the picture.
Yeah. Anyways, the point is that my point simply is that if we gave this guy the benefit of the doubt, then we have to essentially give everyone who does something like this the benefit of the doubt, and then we're not standing up against a pattern that is clearly sexist, which is that. Let me give you an analogy. So in North Carolina, I know this is getting political here, but in North Carolina, or in trials, lawyers can strike people from the jury for whatever reason they want. They don't have to give a reason.
Correct.
So for years, prosecutors were striking every black person from being on the jury. Prosecutors were, because they thought that they would be less likely to convict someone than a white jurist. Now, every time they were asked, why did you strike that specific person? They could give whatever reason they wanted to. We don't know, for example, if that particular person being struck was because they were black or because of something else. Could be either. Lots of people are struck. Lots of white people were being struck too. But we do know there was a pattern. And the only way to deal with a pattern of stuff like that is to stand up to all of them and say, this is wrong. We're not saying that this person, I hope that Scant wasn't saying seek out this Reddit user and punish him.
I don't think Scant's into doxing, but
right,
yeah, go on.
But you have to call out all examples of it, because the only other alternative is call out no examples of it. And that's just and then we're just perpetuating
or completely intermittent. Now, no, and so the moral ethical framework you could use is to say, if everyone behaved the way this Reddit poster behaved, would we be living in the world we want to live in? If let's say every Pinterest article about Dota, Pinterest being a primarily female site, what if every Pinterest thing about Dota were SCCC looking fly with his hair coiffed just so, and no celebration of his being a TI runner-up, just SCCC looking fly? One could make the reverse argument just as easily.
Sure. Sure.
And so, right, if everyone behaved the way this Reddit poster behaved, that would not be the world I would want to live in. And hence, I would like to see that change.
Yeah. All right. Sick in the same vein, Lorton. Renessa tweeted that she basically has a checklist for avoiding creepy situation with dudes when she's at Dota events. Thoughts?
I mean, it sucks that she has to have a checklist for avoiding creepy situations with dudes. It would be nicer if dudes didn't have a history of getting girls into creepy situations. I will say one thing. Not. This isn't counter to Renessa's argument. This is just adding a little bit of color, flavor, and nuance to this. I was talking about this story actually with my friend Alicia, who is a woman and also really thoughtful. And she pointed something out. She was like, the societal expectation that men must make the move. Like, if a man is romantically interested in a woman, and then if he never makes a move, well, we will all universally shit on that guy. Like, yeah, of course you were never going to make anything happen. You never made a move. The expectation that the man will be the one who makes the move puts the man in an impossible situation. Like, if you have to be the one who makes a move, and moves are sometimes unwelcome, then how do you walk that impossibly fine line?
So I will say that's fair, but there's also a point here is that you should not be hitting on women or being creepy or anything like that when they're working, at the very least. Like, it's one thing to sit up there and say, can I buy you a drink at a bar?
Yeah.
And I mean, as long as you can I, not you will allow me to buy you a drink or I will get pissed off. That's obviously wrong also.
If you're listening on audio, you should see Aiden's face right now. You will buy Aiden a drink.
Please don't. I don't actually want a drink.
Nope.
But no, like, she's working. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Don't do that. Like, not even remotely.
Exactly. I think your move there should be, hey, big fan, can I get a selfie?
That's the limit, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, can I get a selfie, or is this a bad time?
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Aden, what is your take on the... this is a question from alert listener and friend of the podcast and excellent support player. Wait, platinum tier coddle player.
Ooh.
Abe Lincoln. What is your take on the 3 unplayed / unbanned heroes at TI? Case in point, my poor coddle.
So the other 2 heroes, by the way, were Clockwork and Ursa, who were unplayed. I'm going to say I actually don't know why those 2 heroes were unplayed. Ursa doesn't feel like great, but Ursa's like one of those heroes that's a hard counter sometimes. There's certain heroes like Underlord and Timbersaw. So the fact that those heroes weren't played much maybe makes it. But I actually was a little bit surprised Ursa wasn't brought out against, like, as an off laner against the safe lane Alchemist. Or even a support Ursa. Can you imagine, like, Alchemist is jungling and there's a little support Ursa running around smacking you? Seems like it could have worked. Clockwork, same way. Clockwork F's up people jungling. Like, the battery assault is deadly. Coddle, the reason is this. Coddle's rework and his new ultimate put him in a place where that ultimate is either game breaking, which it was for a while, or, you know, when they took away the refresher element of it, not very good. Mm-hmm. And it's just like there's like hitting this sweet spot there where it's like playable but not, especially since Coddle's got other weird things about him, was just really hard. And I think, in fact, so they nerfed Coddle and then they didn't buff him back really much. I think the reason there is that, like, Ice Frog just didn't know what to buff him without making him overpowered again. Give him Refresh Orb back, guess what? Overpowered. Game winner. So I think that Coddle, we're going to see possibly a rework about one of Coddle's skills soon in order to, like, try and hit that sweet spot of balance but not ridiculous. All right, Lorton, we both thought this year that the TI prize pool would stop rising, and it went way up instead. And now we know that there was also a 60% increase in peak viewers during the grand finals over last year. And 5 different series this TI had a peak viewership higher than last year's grand finals. And these are non-Chinese stats. So you can understand if the Chinese viewership went up, but this is like counting everybody else. Explained?
Dude, I have no explanation. This was in a horrible time zone for North America. I mean, sorry, as a data analyst, all of my questions are going to be about, like, well, how did you get that number? Like, for example, the broadcast is long enough that you could tune in to the first half hour or the last half hour and still sleep through most of it. Does that count as one view, as 2 views? I have no flipping idea.
These are peak viewership.
Peak viewership.
Peak concurrent viewership.
All right. No, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. Other than that, maybe somebody did a better job of marketing TI. As though like this is an esports event that even non-Dota players should care about. I hear that there are non-Dota players who watch Dota. I hear there are non-League players who watch the League of Legends finals. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but who am I to judge?
You missed the obvious answer, sir.
What's that?
It's in a different time zone. We're not comparing apples to apples. maybe it's a better time zone.
Yeah, but still.
But actually, I will say this. Dota has steadily lost players over the past 3 years or so. And my hope is that this is a sign that people who stop playing Dota are still watching Dota. There are plenty of people in real life who don't play basketball or soccer really much anymore. Yeah. We don't happen to be those people. We still play soccer. But they watch the World Cup or watch Premier League or whatever. And that's great. And if Dota players are doing that, that's also great. So I'm excited about it. All right, Lorton. We are ready to sign off, and I have one last question for you. I actually missed it in our shuffle discussion.
Uh-oh. Okay?
Eternal Envy's new team is Eternal Envy, Bryle, Moon, Snake King, and Owie. 2000. My initial question was going to be, which of the following teams is most likely to disband first? EE's team.
Yes, I agree.
That's got an obvious answer. So I'm going to counter. I'm going to give you a little more complicated one. Which of those players leaves first? While you're thinking about that, I'll remind our listeners, want to ask us a question and play Dota with us? Join our Discord. You can find the link at glimpsepod.com. Remember to follow Lorton on Twitter at SharkButler. Follow me on Twitter at OmegaManDota. Thanks to Jason Bates, our audio engineer, also on Twitter at ButteredToast11. All right, Lorton, which of those players, EE, Bryle, Snake King, Moon Meander, and Owie 2000, leaves that team first?
It's Snake King. Only one of these 5 players is a upper bracket TI. Like, it played on an upper bracket TI team in TI9. That player is Snake King. He's going to get sought out by a better team, and Eternal Envy will have a reverse pizza party.
Okay, so you think that the cause of someone leaving this team is that they get a better offer?
Yes.
Not that they just get fed up with the team?
Well, I guess I don't know what the time scale is. Like,
all right, so
it's possible that someone will quit in a huff before Snake King gets picked up, but I do think Snake King gets picked up.
I honestly couldn't guess who would be the first to go. I actually think Bryle might also get a decent offer. He's a mid player. He's a young mid player.
Yes.
And sometimes you just want to gamble on that, and he's just had some good performances. Not great. So I'm going to go there. All right, Lorton. Until next time, this is Aden Steinberger-Kaufman. Back you go. God damn it. It's Aden Richards. Back you go.
Good job by you.